All right, T.O., I'll open up with you, man. We'll get to Fanta in a second. BYU. They won
Talented,
at
man.
Iowa State last night in double overtime, despite turning the ball over 29 times. They won at Arizona about a week and a half ago. They've won 7 in a row. They've won 11 of their last 13. They are now a top 25 team on all of the metrics. They are the 7th best team in America since January 20th, according to our good friends over at Torvik. So my question to you is just how we know they're good, right? And we know they're hot right now, but just how good is this team? How good is BYU? Are we talking second weekend? Are we talking can make a deep run? Like what do you make of this BYU team and how they've been playing?
The hard part about registering it as that is the fact that we've talked about probably 30-something odd teams as being potentially second weekend teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of this college basketball season. I just think there's more teams that are good this season than in years past. There's just so many teams that can make the second weekend. However, when you talk about forming a team in today's modern game, you look at do you have that young freshman super talent? That's a huge point. And then do you have some veteran pieces? And BYU's veteran pieces aren't just veteran pieces. Those are grown-ass men.
Mm-hmm.
Because they go on their missions for 2 years and then they become freshmen and sometimes they redshirt. And so they're really old. So you add that combination of different guys and then throw in the fact that there's a lot of size. There's a lot of ability to score. They've got good shooters and they've got veteran presence. I love BYU. I love their team. And what'd you say? Rattle off. What is that? 8 and 7 in a row? Again,
7 in a row.
Good competition. Like you start out and then you beat Kansas at home, Arizona at their place in a great game. And then you rattle off at Iowa State. It is not easy. And they weren't just winning at Iowa State. They were thumping them. Iowa State makes a run to come back because BYU turns the ball over. But you win at Hilton Coliseum, you've got something rolling because that is a tough place to play. But it's the mixture of the older pieces and the young talent. That's what sticks out for me, and that's what's going to be the thing moving forward for Kevin Young because they'll be able to mix and match a lot of those guys, and they've got deep pockets in Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the biggest thing to me is so with last night's game, right? They were up 21 and blew that lead. It completely melted away, and they call it Hilton Magic for a reason, Fanta. And the game ends up tied, and I'm like, this going into overtime, there is absolutely no chance that BYU is going to find a way to be able to win this game. Like the Iowa State's rocking, that building is rocking, and they build up another lead again. I think they were up by 6 in the overtime, and then they gave that away, and it goes to double OT. And they find a way to win in double overtime despite blowing 2 leads and turning the ball over 29 times. I could not be more impressed. I got to take on BYU. I'll give you in a second. I want to hear your thoughts first, though, before we dive into it.
Well, first off, I just want to say this. This is the best time of the year, bar none. And I think it gets confused at times that we just need a bracket and then all the madness begins. The madness is well underway in earnest. The chaos has already begun. Either you're on this wagon or you're not. Like if you're not on the wagon, I don't know what to tell you. Where are you going? Where are you? Like this is the best time of year. You know, this is it right here. I mean, last night we had multiple double overtime games, one between Ohio State and Nebraska, then this game too. And, you know, BYU is the biggest testament of this time of year. You got to get hot at the right time, and you have to find ways to win at the right time. And they're finding ways to win. They've won 7 in a row. The fact that they can finish in the top 3 of the Big 12, are you kidding me? That's an amazing first-year head coaching job done by a guy who, when he was hired, we're like, I don't know, is this going to work? Like, it's hard to pinpoint. Now I'm finding out what Utah is one of their favorites, if not the front runner, is an NBA assistant. That's quite interesting. I mean, it is. It shows you the change in. I think we're going to see over the next 10 to 15 years coaching hires be different. Because if you come with this type of wisdom and you have a source of money or two, you're gonna have an edge in the job. You have to bring a couple of different things. Clearly, with Kevin Young, Rob and T.O., there was more than just we think he can coach. Like there's more to the story here. His NBA background helps. They play an NBA system. They're enjoyable to watch. From a standpoint of like, okay, what do we make of them? In our Big 12 preview show, I'm like 90% positive we said BYU could be a dark horse in this league.
Yep,
and we said
sure
it because when we looked at Richie Saunders and Yegor Demin and his upside, and I thought Mawot Mag was a really good portal pickup who played 37 minutes last night. He takes people away defensively. Like that guy guards and guarded at Rutgers. Rutgers could really use him. But Keita and Cannell, who didn't play much last night, but Dallin Hall stepped in off the bench and played 32 minutes. I mean, Dallin Hall is a stud. He's a stud. Like that kid just makes shots. He gets to the free throw line and he figures out a way to impact winning. They are not a perfect team. And it's not like when you look at Brigham Young, you're talking about a team that, is great defensively because they're 57th in efficiency. But they're a classic example of they are so in touch with who they are offensively. They're a really dangerous team in the NCAA tournament because when you're scouting for them and you're trying to figure out how you're going to defend them, there is a point with having to defend them where you have to pick your poison. You have to be willing to live with something. And if that's falling, oh boy.
I think three things have happened over the course of the season that has led to this development. The first one is, so Kevin Young is coming from the NBA level, right? And Tio, you can attest to some of this as well. Their offensive coordinator is a former NBA guy. Their defensive coordinator is a former
Will
NBA
Voigt?
guy.
Will Voigt, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So Will Voigt,
go ahead.
Will Voigt coached in Norway, and he was my national team assistant coach.
Yeah, so you have.
I didn't even know he was in the game, and I was watching highlights of BYU, and I was like, "Is that freaking Will Voigt?" He looks a lot younger than he is. His old ass has been around the block, dude. He's coached everywhere. Sorry, go ahead.
I love anyone that's associated with any Scandinavian country. Tio knows exactly who they are.
I'm locked in with the cold people. I'm locked in with the cold people.
What's he like as a coach?
Smart, very smart, bit of a wise ass, but very smart. And he was the original creator of the veer switch, which is basically you get your ass beat. He's the guy who comes over and helps from the corner. And then the guy that got beat, instead of going back, he runs to the corner to try to take away that pass. He was the first guy to kind of initiate that thing. And we were trying to do it. And I was just like, but I'm getting beat so bad, Will, that there's no way that I'm going to be able to get to that corner. Sorry, go ahead. Will Voigt, hell of a coach. Kevin Young, hell of a coach.
All I was going to say is that the three guys that are kind of their decision makers on that coaching staff are all former NBA guys, and the adjustment going from the professional level to the college level, where it's so much more physical and it's a different game. The NBA is a different game than what college basketball is right now.
NBA is it's not basketball. It's more entertainment than it is game. Conceptually, you can still do a lot of the same things. But as far as the way the game is played, it's incredibly different. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. So I think that the adjustment level for the staff figuring out what it takes to win in college, it took them a little while to kind of put all those dots together. The other thing that they did was they got significantly tougher when your boy, Fanta, Mawot Mag got moved into the starting lineup over Cannon Catchings. And I think you saw what Mag did last night in terms of being able to, his numbers aren't going to jump off the page in terms of like what they call them stocks, like the steals and the blocks. But there aren't 20 defenders in college basketball that are better on the ball at shutting somebody down than Mawot Mag is. Toughness, physicality. We saw it with Keba Cato last night. I think that they've gotten better in that aspect. So their defensive numbers, where they might be, what'd you say they were, like 57th? I think they're better than what their numbers are. Yeah, and recently they're better than what their numbers are. And then the other part of it is, guys, Richie Saunders took a leap. Like he figured it out in the middle of the season. And Tio, I don't know where you stand on this. I think that he's in the conversation for like first team all Big 12, especially if BYU keeps winning like this. But he's been terrific. He was awesome last night. I did not realize how much shit he had to him. Like he can put the ball on the floor and get into the lane, and he can draw foul. Like he's a better player than I thought he was. Coming into the season, my expectation was basically like this team will go as far as Yegor Demin can take them. And like Yegor Demon's probably like their third option offensively right now. Dallin Hall's been really good of late. Richie Saunders has been awesome, and they pound the offense. Like I really think BYU is like a second weekend caliber team. They're going to end up in probably that 6 seed line, and whoever is the if they're a 6 or a 7, whoever is that 2 or 3 seed is not going to have a fun experience in the second round of the NCAA tournament against them.
I think Young has opened up his game, Richie Saunders, and he's given them ability to shoot it as soon as he's open. That was the thing that stuck out to me, especially early in the season. It was kind of an adjustment process for some of those guys that were returning. And not saying Mark Pope didn't let him shoot early in the clock, because he certainly did, but it was almost the point to get it down in 6 seconds to try to find something. So there's always going to be a balancing act, and you're going to figure those things out towards the middle of January into January. And I think you're right. Richie Sanders is really good. And we talk about 50, 40, 90 guys. He's close to 60, 45, and he's shooting 80 from the free throw line. So he kind of kills it there. But like, I'd take that. I'd take that any freaking day of the week.
You guys reading this headline here of the last hour? Just quickly, I know we're in the midst of all college basketball, but Kevin Boyle this is his last year at Montverde. He is stepping down, and he's leaving to head to Spire Academy out in Geneva, Ohio.
Yeah,
and he says it's because of the changing landscape. 14 years. I mean, he coached Cooper Flagg. He coached that unbelievable team last year. That's jarring. Montverde's been so damn good in basketball. That's a huge loss.
You know who went to Spire Academy, T.O.?
LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, LaMelo Ball.
Your favorite player in the NBA.
Yep, he is.